You're listening to New England Real Estate Journal Radio with Rick Kaplan, New England's source for commercial real estate news. This is New England Real Estate Journal Radio on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
Welcome to the New England Real Estate Journal Radio Show. I'm Rick Kaplan with Eric Wilson. And today's show is brought to you by the New England Real Estate Journal, bringing together the commercial real estate industry for over 50 years. Find us at NEREJ.com. If you'd like to be a guest or sponsor for the show, call 800-654-4993 or email us at radio@nerej.com. Again, that's 800-654-4993 or email radio@nerej.com.
We're like 88 shows in and you're still reading that.
I have to read everything. I have a very poor memory, Eric. You should know that.
Yep, I do.
And today we have a guest coming in. It's, let's see. I
have this name
I
somewhere.
had his name on it. Oh, there it is. Peter Mahoney. He's the Senior Project Director at John M. Corcoran and Company. Mm-hmm. And they have a big development in Weymouth, the Southfield.
Yeah, Southfield Development.
And that used to be the
Air
Force
base. Yeah, the Air Base, yeah.
Yeah, so he's going to come in and talk a little bit about that project.
That's cool.
And some of the other things that Corcoran Company.
Yeah, I know they have the Common at the Greens, and I know that's...
They own quite a few properties.
Right, but I know that this has, like, it's eco-friendly, dog-friendly, and I know there's, some different things that it offers than its other properties, so I'm excited to hear about those, too.
Yeah, so this is a little different than what they've had in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Also said they have, like, a cafe in the...
Solid. You know how we love our food, Rick.
Yeah. So we'll find out when Paul gets in here.
Nice.
And we have... one of the things that we wanted to talk about was with this Market Basket chain having all these issues. What's going to happen to all those locations if Market Basket doesn't?
Yeah, if they don't come to some sort of agreement or reach an agreement, I know that both the governors from New Hampshire and Mass tried to help broker a deal between these brothers. But if what happens to this property, and does another grocery store move in? It's obviously, I'm sure that the anchors of most of their strip malls being a grocery store. It opens up a lot of different things, and that's what we, of course, being in the commercial real estate industry, we always think about those type of things. But I don't know. I wonder what's going to happen to it.
Well, and the supermarket industry being so competitive. But then you hear of large supermarket chains, and I think there was one down south, that they ended up closing up a lot of them because they weren't profitable.
Right.
Market Basket had a unique system where they were profitable, and they kept their pricing very low.
Right.
So, I don't know if someone takes that over, if they could do the same thing.
I don't know.
Although I did hear something about Hannaford's taking over the company, or making a bid and having Arthur T. run it.
Really?
Yeah. That makes sense.
It does. But I mean...
But at this point, how much money does Market Basket have to continue on the way they're going before they make a sale?
I think more about how much damage this has done to the brand. Even if you don't even know anything about which side you're on, what Demoulas brother you're with, the brand itself, why would you ever go back there? Why would you ever think about shopping there again if they can't even handle their own issues in-house?
Yeah, I do think that they probably have a lot of customers that they probably have lost by this point.
Yeah, there's new brands out there. There's, you can
but in the same sense, once they start coming back and their pricing is like
competitive again,
20% or 30% less than the other stores, people will find their way back.
Yes. That's obviously, depending on the area it is. But again, I still think that brand has taken huge damage.
But they have a lot of locations. Their locations are fairly new locations that they opened in the past 5 years.
Right.
I know there's a location in Revere that isn't even open yet.
Oh, it's under construction?
It's brand new. No, they were supposed to have a ribbon.
Wasn't that off Route 1?
I'm not sure if it's off of Route 1, but they were supposed to have a ribbon cutting there, and they canceled. They postponed it. Now, there's no need for the ribbon cutting.
There's 71 stores in the whole.
There's 71 stores.
And we've been covering this a lot on other radio shows that we've done at the studio. And a lot of the listeners who call in agree with you, Eric, that the brand is damaged.
Yeah, it's got to be. I can't imagine that you'd go, okay, well, I trust now in Market Basket after this.
No, I agree. I think that, because it went on so long. If it was a week or two, I think they might have had some way
It's been
of...
about 5 weeks now, and we did a little calculation. The stores are losing $3 million a day as a company.
That's insane.
So how does a company
because they're not
survive?
paying the vendor. I don't think they can.
Yeah. I mean, they can't. They have either no choice but to sell off, and they're never going to be able to sell that what it was worth. I can't believe there's going to be another company out there that's going to pay the top dollar for that company.
The longer they stay out in this issue, I would assume the more that the brand gets damaged, the less price that they're knocking off more money on the sale as well.
So saying that, how this makes no sense as the owners of Market Basket. I know they have their issues between each other.
How often does family problems make sense?
No, but
Never.
At the end of the day, they all lose.
Yeah,
That's
no
one's
the
winning
big
here.
Exactly.
They're not going to get any money.
This
None
has
of them
been
are
going
Charlie
on
Sheen.
For 30 years, these cousins have hated each other.
Right.
So, I mean, it's ego now. It's not going to – they're at point of no return.
Right, I agree. I think they've gone over the point where they can't come back.
Well,
I think the brand's the same way. I
at some
think it's
point you
damaged
would've-
enough at this point that they can't come back.
But they have a board of directors. So at some point they should have said to the whole family, this is not working out. We have to sell the whole company. And this is.
But isn't the chairman
this
of the
going back
board
a couple years.
one of the family members?
Yes,
I believe he is. Right?
He is. But there's others in there. But you mean there's no one that was smart enough in the whole group to say, you know what, this is not going to be resolved. Why don't we just put it on the auction block or put it up for sale? Take the money, and you go your way and I'll go my way, and everyone will be happy.
Ego.
Hey,
Ego doesn't let you do that.
All right,
they're obviously smart people. They built an enormous
business.
business. They just made one stupid mistake that's now going to cost them their entire business. Everything they built is all because transcripts got out. I mean, they were saying some awful things.
Yeah.
You don't ask me questions, things like that. It just shows you, the kind of turmoil that they were in.
Well, the commercial real estate industry is now looks like it's going to have about 71 stores to start leasing.
Some new locations back in the market. And as you know, commercial real estate right now, we're still in a great upswing effect. We've been doing really well. Construction, especially in the Northeast, has been out of control. Money's flowing around everywhere. You know how many commercial lenders we get calls every week about coming on our show.
Yeah, there's a lot of money available.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, there's a lot of. It's not just the commercial side, but
Right.
the flippers.
Right.
I mean, they're starting to pop up everywhere, and like these.
it's a safer return than the stock market.
Yeah, but you're seeing these guys that have been flipping for the past maybe 3-4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're starting to have their own seminars. They're traveling around the
Of
country
course.
doing seminars on how you can flip houses. Some are even letting you find the houses. They pay you a commission, and they'll flip them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's a good investment. We're not making more land. There's no volcanoes in the middle of North America pumping out more land for us.
Hey, but we did have the two guys from the Cape that have that Heritage Sands.
Heritage
development.
Sands, yep.
That's how many properties were they building on that?
27, right?
Was it 27?
I think it was in high 20s, low 30s.
I thought it was more than that, but
No.
nevertheless, that was all
Yeah, renovated right on the
renovated
beach.
properties.
Right. I mean, that's how they're going to do it. You're not building more land, so. And with money back out there, you can renovate, and it's a great investment.
But you also have the climate change, so-called climate change.
For those
That's
who don't believe in science.
For you talk radio listeners out
Yeah.
AM talk radio.
And you missed the quote fingers Rick just threw up.
Yeah, well, it's climate change. But if you go back in history, we've had the climate change before.
Yes, but during that time, we were living in caves with spears, and we were barely speaking language. We were still singing grunts over fire.
Yeah, so what was that?
The last in the last 10,000
so that
years.
was like thousands of years ago.
Yeah, we were obviously small people at that point. We weren't today. We have houses and construction, things like that need to be coated and weatherproofed in case things happen.
Well, or
You're
we
welcome,
start
Rick.
moving into caves again, right?
Have you ever seen that new Denzel movie, Book of Eli? It's a possibility.
See? Things.
Shout out to Denzel Washington if you're listening.
And he does have a new movie coming out.
He does.
Yeah. Well, we got to go to a break.
Adam's
He's
doing
having
his
a conniption fit over there.
Adam's doing his teary eyes.
Radio lingo.
He's sad that the show has to come. The segment has to come to an end.
Well, the show today is brought to you by the New England Real Estate Journal, bringing together the commercial real estate industry for over 50 years. Find us at NEREJ.com. If you'd like to be a guest or sponsor for the show, call 800-654-4993 or email us at radio@nerej.com. Again, that's 800-654-4993 or email radio@nerej.com, and we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
The next level in commercial real estate. This is New England Real Estate Radio on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com. Rick Kaplan on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com.
And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio. I'm Rick Kaplan with Eric Wilson, and we have in the studio with us is Peter Mahoney. He is the Senior Project Director at the John M. Corcoran and Company. Good morning, Peter.
Good morning.
A lot of first names in here. So, well, first of all, you have a new project that Corcoran and Company has started, and that is in the Southfield area. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Then we can go into what John M. Corcoran and Company is all about.
Sure. So we're just finishing our second phase down at Southfield, and Southfield is the redevelopment of the former Naval Air Station in South Weymouth. It's a master plan redevelopment. Includes 1,400 acres. The master plan calls for over 2,800 units of housing and 2 million square feet of commercial, retail, and other amenity type of spaces. And then some other major infrastructure improvements. So we're the first phase apartment developer. So we've built are now 298 apartment homes down there. We started construction on the first phase probably about 4 years ago, and we built this last phase, which is another 72 units to get us up to 298. We finished that just a month ago in in the midst of our lease up there.
And this is a LEED approved project.
Yep, the first phase was LEED Silver certified. The second phase looks like it'll be LEED Silver, LEED Gold. We're just wrapping up the paperwork now.
And they're sort of a unique apartment complexes.
There's many,
in some form or fashion.
Yeah. So we're unique in this idea of a master plan community is not. It's very common in other places of the country where you have big tracts of land. Around here, there aren't too many of those left. So it's unique in that it's part of this master plan community. We built rental housing. There's for sale housing across the street that's been built over the last few years, and then there's obviously a master plan for a bigger build out. We have a lot of some more standard type of amenities. We also have for our project what we would think are more unique amenities, especially for suburban apartment living. We have a roof deck on one of our buildings now. We have a saltwater swimming pool. We have a outdoor fire pit, grilling, loungy type of area. So we're unique in that respect too.
What about, I know you said it's in South Weymouth. We're right there, and I love Southfield. I used to play in a wiffle ball league there. What about, is it only in the South Weymouth side you guys are on your phases, or are you guys touching also the Abington and Rockland sides as it touches all three towns?
Yeah, so the land that we built in sits within Weymouth, South Weymouth. The land of Southfield as a whole does fall, obviously, within the three towns. So all the vertical development that has happened so far has been in the town of Weymouth's borders. Okay,
and how long until you guys start selling those or leasing the apartments that you guys just finished?
Yeah, so the phase we just finished, which is the last building, which is 72 units, we started leasing some pre-leasing, what we call pre-leasing as we, before we actually officially open our doors. Late spring, we started in May, with a slow rollout, and then the building was done essentially mid to late June, and we've been kind of full on leasing since then. So we're think we're now close to 60 or 70% leased on our market units, so the pace has been very good.
Nice. Have you actually been in there, side there? So could you tell me if it's closer to the Route 18 exit, or is it over by the Rockland Industrial Park on the VFW?
Yeah, I've been for the last 7 years. I thought
I know.
my
What did you
second
think?
home.
All right.
Yeah.
So is the apartment closer to the Rockland VFW side? You know what I'm talking about, that entrance?
Yeah, no.
or is
So
it
we're a
by
third of the
18?
mile from the South Weymouth commuter rail station.
All right,
So
so
it's
you're-
right off of Route 18.
Nice.
So you can walk to Route 18 if you know that area.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We're by Stockholders. Great restaurant.
That's right. Great restaurant.
Oh, I know. I know, Peter. I
Nothing
know.
like a free plug, huh?
Yeah, hey, gotta
Now
get
they
out
owe
there.
us. Now they owe us a meal.
Right, I'm gonna go there for lunch and be like, "Hey, check out this radio show. It's on YouTube." So now that we've touched on that, obviously you manage apartments and build developments.
Yep.
Why don't you tell us what John M. Corcoran does and how long you guys have been doing it?
Sure. So John M. Corcoran and Company. It's a family-owned, still privately held company, founded in 1951. So now over 60 years. John M. Corcoran founded it, and his brother Leo joined him shortly thereafter. Over the years, have been involved in a number of different development fields. Today, our business is almost exclusively rental housing. So we build, sell, buy rental housing, mostly in the greater Boston area. Our next kind of radius of development and acquisitions would be New England. And then we still manage and own a little bit outside of New England, but the current business plan is kind of New England centralized. Corcoran Management Company is an affiliate of the company, and it's our management company. Manages currently around 9,000 units, I believe, down from up over 12,000, maybe just as short of a few years ago. And we are primarily have an ownership interest in the majority of those units, but we also do third-party management for anyone from housing authorities to institutional third-party clients.
So the project management. So they do anything from the leasing to all the maintenance of the properties.
Yeah, and I started my first job with Corcoran was a leasing consultant, and I worked in the leasing offices, and then onto a property manager. But yeah, our staff, our employment base is heavily weighted toward the management company side, as you can imagine. With the number of properties, so we have over right around 250 employees right now.
Wow. So. Who handles all that? That's not part of your job.
No, we're thankfully we have a very capable management company and senior management level staff. But you're right; it covers everything from the first time someone comes in to look at an apartment to when they move in and sign a lease. They manage all that, resident retention, organizing resident events, and then on the maintenance side, everything from fixing a toilet to replacing a roof.
So when you come into play when they're building a new project.
Correct. Yes.
So this project in Southfield is one of the projects. Do they have any other projects that they're starting to develop, or are they going to be starting?
Yeah, no, we're always out looking for sites. So kind of going into the last cycle, we've finished one in Chelsea, one in Linfield, and one in South Boston. Those were the last one was finished in 2009. Then the recession hit, and things obviously slowed down. So then coming out of that, we've built now Southfield. We have a project we're working on in Jamaica Plain, and then we have a permitting effort that we're working on in Stoneham. So we're constantly out there looking for new opportunities and continue to develop.
So you're pretty spread out throughout Massachusetts.
Certainly, yeah.
When you guys build these projects, do you guys do like the what do they call it, work, live, play type ideas? Is that going to your projects when you guys build out that there's everything's kind of right there with them? Yeah,
that's more that's something we look for when we're looking at a site. So Southfield has this work, live, play idea. Today the living is there.
Right.
The working and playing is coming along as the commercial market recovers. Hopefully there'll be some office development out there. There's a great amount of open space and trails out there today that they've built.
Right.
But there'll be more kind of recreational play type
disc
of
golf maybe.
Disc golf. There's a lot of land. I'll throw in a plug for you
because
next time.
we've been actually a bunch of us disc golfers from Easton and Borderland.
Now this is all about Eric.
We've been actually trying to get a contact with Southfield because we know you have so many lands. We've been trying to talk to them about putting in a disc golf course in like one of your conservation land places, kind of like they do in Borderland State Park. That would be the only one on the South Shore. That would get huge traffic. Just
That's an
out
interesting
there.
idea. I will absolutely.
And if you put like a Tedeschi's in there, that's going to get a lot of business from those disc golfers.
Tedeschi's.
Or like 7-Eleven, whoever. Like
maybe they want some nice restaurant.
Yes, and who's going to go
there
there
right after
clientele
walking around?
What do you
there.
mean? Right after a round of disc golf, you go get some food? Who doesn't? It happens every time. Right? They can live right there. I'm telling you. It's a huge market. It was on Chronicle. That's all you need to know.
Well,
that means
anyway,
everything.
So
right?
What about the Commons at the Green? That's also you guys, isn't it?
Yeah, so the Commons of the Green is how we branded this last phase at Southfield. So that's the idea there. We built the first phase was 226 units, and coming out of the recession, we were more conservative in kind of finish levels and trying to keep costs to a certain level.
Okay.
We did very well by the way we judged it, and we thought there was still demand, so we continued on developing, but we've gone for a kind of higher level of finishes, wood flooring in the units, different more advanced kind of kitchen finishes, double vanities and bathrooms, things that we heard back from the leasing folks during the first phase lease up. We tried to incorporate into this phase.
What about what makes it LEED certified? What did you guys do that gave it its energy efficiency?
Yeah, so the LEED certification process touches on a number of levels of development. The first one is kind of site selection. So we're transit oriented. We're a third of the mile from the train, and if you're down there in the morning, you'll see a lot more people than even I imagined walking down to take the commuter rail into town. We're redeveloping a formerly developed site. We're not taking down a forest. So those are kind of some of the site development types of credits that we got. Then there's an energy, efficiency and water efficiency aspect to it. We have very high efficiency unit systems for the heating and cooling, water efficient plumbing fixtures. So they measure it over a baseline. So on a baseline, we're 20 to 25% better than what they call a baseline apartment building from an energy efficiency standpoint.
Nice.
So energy efficiency, that meaning heat and the hot water and the cooling. What about for electricity?
Yeah, that weighs into it too. So that's appliances, lights, efficient light fixtures, Energy Star appliances, Energy Star light fixtures, and then the electric components that run the heating and cooling systems too.
Now, when they do the insulation of the building, is that also a part of how this is all measured?
That does. So the building envelope obviously contains the heat or releases it, and it contains the cool air and releases it. So that is a factor, and you actually build an energy model of the building. And so you model the way everything from the windows you're putting into the insulation and the walls, and you work your way into the systems you're putting into the building, and they can model an energy output. And in 2 or 3 years, we'll check that against what we've actually accomplished against what we modeled and thought it would.
So how do you measure something like that? That's
that's
probably not an easy thing.
Yeah, we'll have to call engineers in for that one. It's a very technical analysis that goes into it.
Now obviously over time that must change as well, because the building's settling, windows being beaten around from the weather and things like that. So the energy levels have to change from brand new to 10 years down the road. Is there a way to bring it back to the original standard?
There is, and that gets to our management company's efforts, and we have a full-time energy efficiency manager on staff, and we have buildings that the Corcoran's built in the 60s. So, you mentioned 10 years, 50 years is a lot different. So we've done a tremendous amount of work in our existing portfolio, and as this building is completed and moves into to that portfolio, then this will be monitored. We monitor all of the consumption of our utilities. So we monitor gas, electric, water consumption on a per unit, per square foot basis, and we have the ability to compare it to similar building types, similar from a construction type, from an age type, from a systems type.
So that makes sense, though, if the company is picking up on the heating costs. Yep. But this you rent apartments, the heat and cooling is all included?
No, for the most part, especially on the stuff that's been built in the last 15 years, all of the utilities are sub-metered or separately metered and are the residents' responsibility. But residents are becoming more savvy. I think they when they come to rent an apartment, they ask about the rent, they ask about the utilities, and if it's not included in the rent, they want to know, well, how much on an average basis is it going to
what do I have
cost
to
me?
budget for?
They're looking at their whole dollar amount,
Right.
versus just looking at the monthly rent.
So is that common nowadays that the new complex like what you're building, that they include some of the utilities?
No, it's especially in a suburban, type of construction. It's the most common practice would be to have everything separate on the resident's responsibility, separately metered.
So everything now is going to being separately metered
Yes,
as
yeah.
opposed to.
Makes
'cause I
it
know
more customizable.
No, but I know years ago they used to include a lot of the, a lot of
Yeah,
apartments.
heat and hot water and all
heat
that
and
stuff.
hot water or some.
Well, that was that was the
utilities.
selling point, I'm sure, at that time. But at this point, most people want the ability to customize their own and make their own decisions. Okay, I want to use this. Say I want to use this gas supply, or instead of that, electricity. Things like that.
Yeah.
Cable. Everything has to be. People want more control over their lives, or I should say, fake control.
No,
you don't really have
what?
choices. Like you have to use
I'd
NSTAR.
like
It's
to
not
have
like you
one
can go-
bill.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me one bill. Include everything in it.
Well, we do that with our water. Our water and sewer is actually billed because we don't separately actually meter the water and sewer.
Right.
We sub-meter it. So we send a resident a bill with their rent and their water and sewer. So I
Already-
got your one bill down.
included.
All right, there you go. Rick's in a rent.
All right, I'm getting closer and
Okay,
closer
all
to
right.
being a tenant.
Right.
We're going to go back to a break, and we're talking with Peter Mahoney, is the senior project director at John M. Corcoran and Company, and we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
Rick Kaplan and Eric Wilson, right here on the Money Matters Radio Network and online at moneymattersboston.com. New England Real Estate Journal Radio.
And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio. I'm Rick Kaplan with Eric Wilson, and we have in the studio with us is Peter Mahoney, Senior Project Director at John M. Corcoran and Company. And we are talking about a lot of the different projects and properties that John M. Corcoran and Company own, and they also are the property management of all of their properties as well. But we were talking, when we went to the break, we were talking about some of the amenities, and Eric had a question about saltwater pools.
Yes, the saltwater pool.
I had to go into a whole detail on what a saltwater pool really is, and it's not all saltwater.
Yes, right. Well, we thought we were asking.
Which
for
most
the
people
amenities.
listening probably do want to know.
Why don't
about.
we just bring it up? So what is the amenities one that you guys offer the residents that maybe some of the other places around don't, and what is a saltwater pool? Our listeners want to know.
Well, I'll do my best. The amenity package that we have is in addition to the saltwater pool, various outdoor amenity areas. We have a roof deck, we have a sun deck, grilling areas, a fire pit. We have inside we have 2 different community rooms, one of which can kind of double as an entertainment space for residents who want to have a bigger group that they can't entertain in their apartment. And then, in addition to the property level amenities, we consider the access that we have to the train, the access that we have to Route 18 and Route 3 through the new Parkway at Southfield,
Right.
a great amenity. The outdoor space, open space that we have, potentially
Yep.
the disc golf.
Count it.
We consider those all amenities too.
Right.
In many respects, those are unique to apartment developments, especially in the suburbs.
Well, just so everyone knows, the saltwater pool is the filtering system for the pool. So the water is not
Salt
salty
water. It's not like
water.
ocean water. That's what I
It's
assumed it was.
Basically ionized.
Right.
to-
Because I asked
to
about an
purify
outdoor
the water.
shower for people that got out because they'd be sticky after,
Right.
like they would in the ocean. Hence, they're not. I have a question.
But, I should bring up another point. That
Rick
complex
cleans
isn't
pools.
too
Hey,
far.
Rick from us, and you
It's-
clean pools.
No,
Oh.
no, it's not too far from the salt water though.
It's not. No, you're right in the ocean. I mean,
Yeah.
your Nantasket Beach is 15-minute drive.
So it is a great location.
It is. It's right there where we live. Of course, it's a great location, Rick.
Yeah.
What about the rink that they have in Southfield? Are they going to do anything with all those buildings after you go by your development and you take that right toward the, Freeway 14 exit? There's like a rink on the right side that's that's been sitting there. It looks like a football field, even like a mile out past that.
Yeah, all the buildings that are on the
main
base
road,
now.
yeah.
There's some amazing buildings out there. The old hangars for,
Yeah.
for the old blimps are some huge structures. So everything that they see out there that's not brand new is coming down eventually.
Is it? Okay.
The master plan calls for, and it's become more flexible. Some areas would be more commercial versus some areas that would be more retail oriented. But all the buildings down there will come down as kind of they're ready to move forward with additional development.
Right. Who's heading that commercial development, you know?
So the way the structure down there is a master developer who is Starwood Land Ventures. It was formerly LNR Properties, and then Starwood, in the much bigger transaction, acquired LNR last spring.
Okay.
And Starwood has been spearheading the effort since then. They've recently gone through some legislative changes to change the organization of Southfield and the way it's governed, and kind of the way who's responsible for different infrastructure projects. It seems, and we're glad with these changes and think that a lot of this stuff is going to allow development to move forward on a faster pace.
Good deal.
Wasn't there a major issue trying to get that property converted into so you could build residential?
Yeah, the base closed in '98. We started construction in 2011. So, and we were the first major vertical construction out there. So
didn't they want to put a mall there at one time?
That was one of the proposals. So the process was they entertained the three towns entertained a number of different proposals from master developers. The proposal from LNR, which was this, they called it a village concept, this live, work, play idea, was the one that was approved by the three towns. Along with that, they had a long list of zoning requirements, and all the things that you would need to develop something like that were approved by the three towns. And then what was LNR at the time moved forward under that plan.
Now, I want to go back a couple of steps from when we were talking about the amenities, because...
You want to talk about disc golf again?
No, not even close. But you said they had an open fire pit?
Yes.
Now, I find that kind of unusual, because usually that one of the biggest fears that a lot of apartment complexes have is having open fires, like charcoal grills or things like that.
Yeah, no, it's a legitimate concern. We have some additional fire protection in place for it, but it's not a log fire. It's a gas fired fire pit, and they've become pretty more common in the market, and you'll see them around more and more.
Well, yeah, but I still find that kind of unusual, because unless you have someone on staff 24 hours a day on the building, just watching, making sure that the people aren't throwing neighbors into the fire pit, things like that.
Where are we, Florida?
Yeah.
I thought we were in Massachusetts. Who's throwing people in fire
Hey, Eric,
pits?
I live in a rough neighborhood.
I know. That's because you want to throw your neighbors in fire pits. No, I'm sure that they have, precautions. We're not going to put that out there. And that's more for the residents to come down, probably, if they want to use it at night, have a few drinks in the summertime around it, get the bugs away.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a gathering spot.
Yeah, it's not a Burning Man. It's like
I'm just thinking of liability.
Right, they're not wheeling out a 30-foot Burning Man and be like, "Hey neighbors, come on out, we're gonna burn this thing."
I hope not.
Yeah, come on.
You have a camera out there.
See, it's all camera. They know.
That's
they know.
all right, but then no one's checking in for 3 or 4 days. So
Yeah, right. And you said you had a grilling place as well, and that's where people want to entertain. You guys are all for that. Does there hours and stuff like that set? Like you can't entertain after 9 because?
Yeah, there are some hours on the outdoor amenities.
I can imagine.
There are people who live in close proximity to those spaces.
And you don't want the lady banging on the ceiling with the broom.
That's
Keep
right,
it quiet, kids. I know those.
Yeah,
but I don't know. No one really pays any attention to those.
What do you mean?
Until someone complains.
Of course. Rick, you tell Rick's we're both rental housing people.
Well, I've never been. I'm a new resident,
right.
Rental.
And I've always been a rental.
I've always lived in my own private home,
And still had an old lady downstairs banging on the ceiling. Hey, keep it down up there.
She's no longer there anymore.
Well, we could have gotten you. We have, as part of this phase, we built 7 rental townhomes, which is the first time we've done that in a while.
Oh.
So these are, it's a separate wing of the building. There's 7, vertical units. So you have nobody upstairs, nobody downstairs. You do still have a neighbor to your side.
That's sweet.
But those have been very well received, and they're 2-bedroom, 2 dens with 2-car garages underneath.
Yeah, my cousin runs one. I'm not lying. Yeah, my
Is
cousin
that
really
right?
rents one.
Well,
Yeah. My cousin and my they both.
There goes the neighborhood.
They moved in there.
Fire pit story. I don't know.
Yeah. They moved in there from Hingham. They were in Hingham at one point, and I just saw them like 2 weeks ago. I was like, "Oh, where you guys living now?" They're like, "Oh, we live in Southfield." I was like, "What? I didn't even know everyone was living in Southfield." He's like, "Yeah, we go in these townhomes." I was like, "Oh, all right."
Good,
And he told me it's
good.
unbelievable. He loves it.
Yeah, good.
They love the area. He said it's right near all his golf courses that he can drive to. It's right near his job, and it's right near the highway.
Yeah, once you get out of Southfield, obviously you have all the great things that South Shore has to offer.
Exactly. Yep. Props to South Shore. Born and raised. Love it.
Yeah, it's not too far from the Cape.
No, we're right between the Cape and Boston. If you want to go 20 minutes north, you're in Boston. If you want to go 35 minutes south, you're on the bridge.
Sorry, you should need a job as a leasing
I
consultant.
know, right?
Let us know.
I know the spot, man. I love it. It's one of my favorites, and it's right near our office as well. I mean, they have some great sub shots. Shout out to Dina's. We always go there. That's right near Southfield as well. She's gonna be
I don't
so
know. We got
happy.
to get some advertising dollars from all these people he's been
What?
showing
Hey,
up.
I'm friendly. I'm a friendly person. I know people. But
well,
yeah. So what are the what's the next? You said you just finished phase 2. What's phase 3 for you guys?
Yeah, we'd love to build more out there. I think, as this legislative change has just happened, I think the master developer Starwood is now kind of regrouping and moving forward with a plan. I think their current plan is to do some for sale housing right now, but we do have the desire to do more apartment housing out there when the time is right.
So you guys are looking to maybe do like a neighborhood, like a gated community inside?
No, we would continue to do apartment housing. Let the for sale guys do that.
That's what I mean. But they're looking to put the same right near you guys, like build a neighborhood.
Yeah,
right
the master plan called for 3 or 4 different residential neighborhoods, and we've built in the first one.
Right.
The next one is actually down closer to the train station, just by a little bit. So that's called the Transit Village, and they're looking at some for sale housing there now. And if we fit in down there, that'd be great. But there's plenty of land out there. So, if at some point we think we'll do more.
Do you guys ever worry about going on like mortars and things like that, like in the down range?
What's that?
Like old like mortars that you never know they're buried. It is a naval air base. You never know.
There's been no, we don't worry about that.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Hey, I was in the military, so I did my
He
time.
planted a few.
No, I was never
Let
at
us
the
know where they are, please.
I wasn't in the naval air base.
Just recently, too.
I was just wondering because when you drive by and you take the last bend at the rotary before you go toward that little rotary, like you're heading out toward Rockland, on the right is their range. You can see all the range. You can tell it's a range because there's no grass. And there's like a Jeep that just sits out there. You know what I'm talking about? There's like a Jeep in the middle of the field. So I just wondered if people are worried about that stuff.
No, they've done a huge environmental cleanup out there, as you probably know, over the years.
Right.
And then if we were to buy a piece of land, we'd be doing some serious due diligence, poking some holes in the ground.
Yeah, send the dogs out there. We'll find out. It's fine.
Yeah, and they have to dig pretty much all around there when they're developing.
I know. I was kind of joking, but being
I
funny
know
at the
you
same
were.
time. Joke lost on us all, I take it.
Yeah.
What else is
I don't know.
planned
After
for-
the pool thing, I'm questioning everything you said.
I know. Right now, we know what you're doing in Southfield. Love the area. You said you're doing something maybe in Jamaica Plain, and you guys just finished up South Boston. What did you do in South Boston?
We finished in 2009. We finished construction and leased it up through the next year and a half. 50 West Broadway. It's down on the West Broadway neighborhood, right across from the Broadway T stop.
All right.
The Red Line stop.
Nice.
So we've been down there, and it's been a great project for us. And the neighborhood's really come a long way. There's now,
Right.
the South Boston development has taken off since then.
It has. It's totally changed. It's not like it was when Whitey was running it.
No, we're right across the street from his old stomping grounds.
Yeah, that's why when you said Broadway, I was like, oh, nice. That neighborhood has
And
changed.
he's now one of our listeners down in Plymouth County.
He is. He was. He was one of our huge listeners down at the Correctional Institute in Plymouth. We have a huge following in Plymouth Correctional, Peter.
Yeah.
I know that sounds weird. You have to listen to one of our past shows. Rick will tell you the whole story.
But when they get out, they're all going to be getting into commercial real estate.
Right.
Good.
They're looking for some leasing jobs.
Yeah.
What about JP? What are you guys going to be doing in JP?
We have an approved apartment project in JP down in the Forest Hills neighborhood.
Okay.
So we're hoping to get that going, sometime maybe late fall, early winter.
Nice. And what does that call for? How many units?
It's 283.
283 units? Nice.
Wow.
So
You'll be getting at that 10,000 mark pretty soon, fairly
we'll be right
quickly.
back. Yeah, we were up there, as a result of some third-party clients who have been net sellers over the last years. As the apartment market's gotten so hot, it's hard if you're making a decision between hold something and sell something. If you're not a long-term holder, this is the time to sell for sure.
Right.
So
Now, when you're building these in like South Boston and the Jamaica Plain area.
In ruining traffic.
Well,
sorry.
Are they affordable units, or are they like these high-cost apartment complexes?
Yeah, no, there's almost everything in the city has an affordable component to it. So that usually ranges between 13 and 20% of the units, as a guess. Our 50 West Broadway project had a 20% affordability component to it. The one we're proposing in Forest Hills is around 15%. And the market rents are dictated by the location. So somewhere like Forest Hills, we're envisioning that as more of a moderate income market rate is what we've been calling it, demographic.
Yeah, because
versus the seaport.
Yeah, well, we were
Right.
in the South End where they're building the Troy Boston.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
And they had, I think they said 40 of the units
Yeah.
that were
Will be affordable.
affordable.
Right.
Yeah,
But I mean, they have like
affordable. I don't know what
200.
that
Yeah,
means.
so it
again-
can mean a bunch of different things.
Right.
It's gauged by area median income. So it could be anywhere from 50% to 120% of median income. And they all have broad ranges that fall within that gap.
Well, we're going to have to we're going to go to a break. But I want people to know how they can get a hold
And
of
find out
down
more
at-
information, yeah.
Or any information on any of the buildings, properties that.
Yeah, no,
I'm
you can.
Corcoran owns.
We have a great website, CorcoranMGMT.com, which will link you through to the Southfield website. You could Southfield.com is the master developer's website for Southfield, and then Southfield APTS for our project.
For any of the projects.
Yeah,
Jamaica
that would,
Plain.
yeah, that would be the Corcoran website.
Okay.
Corcoran.
Yeah. All
All
right.
right. Nice.
And we
Thanks
were
for joining us, Peter. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank
you,
you,
guys.
Peter.
Yeah.
We were talking with Peter Mahoney. He is the Senior Project Director at John M. Corcoran and Company. And thank you for coming in today, Peter. And we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network. And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio. I'm Rick Kaplan with Eric Wilson, and we were just talking with Peter Mahoney. He is the Senior Director of John M. Corcoran and Company. And we were talking about the Southfield project. It's the Commons on the Green.
Mm-hmm.
And Eric was hounding him about a disc
First
golf
of all, he's a
course.
huge disc golf advocate. I could see it in his face. And secondly, the South Shore is in dire need of a course. And if they did, I'm telling you, they could get greens fees. It could be like one of the great ones that run around like Maple
They
Hill.
should actually, there was a Rockland Country Club.
That was for sale.
I don't even. Yeah, it's been for sale for years.
Yeah.
That would be like a perfect spot.
The only thing is, it's not near the highway like exit 14 is in Southfield.
I know,
Southfield's
but
right by
that's
the highway.
safe for like regular golf courses.
Yeah, but see, the problem with regular golf courses is they're losing business. They've been losing business in a 5-year hunt. That's why Chronicle did the huge thing about golf, is that they keep losing business. Golf courses are shutting down. They're not opening up like they were. Because it has, even though it doesn't have the inclusive feel, it has the exclusive feel. Where
But
disc golf has the inclusive
you also
feel.
have that all the hype about golf started up when Tiger Woods was really
Right.
hot. Now that's fizzling out.
It
and,
is.
and it's losing a little bit of its pizzazz.
Like I said, it just has that perception of exclusive rather than inclusive. And the millennials, this new group of people that are coming around, we're much more in the inclusive groups. And, that's why they become these new options for golf with, foot golf they have now. And up in, I want to say.
But it's more of a casual sport as opposed to, like, you go to a country club. You have to dress a proper way.
Well, it depends. Again, like that's the great thing about disc golf. A lot of people don't realize. They assume it's associated with potheads and hippies, and it's actually not. We just had the World Championships in Oregon, and you have to dress. You have to be under a certain dress code. There's certain strict guidelines and rules. It's treated just like golf is, in the sense of tournaments. Now, obviously, what they do with private courses and things like that, that's up to the tournament. People who own those courses. But as far as tournaments go, yeah.
So maybe we have a developer that's listening, and he might want to.
Yeah, if he's smart, if you got the land, especially conservation land, if some of it's conservation and you can work with your EPA and your local
because there's
towns.
no building it.
Yeah, there's no building at all. You're just literally going out there and playing in those, and you're using that land for a game, and at the same time as you're taking care of it.
And then you can just charge $150 for green fees.
No, it's like $5 or $10 for the day. Don't get carried away. I mean, again, you're
$10.
going out and you're just cleaning up some brush. But we do have some other big events.
It's cheaper than going bowling.
It is. That's why it's very cheap. That's why it's a great game, and everybody loves it. That plays it. I mean, obviously, I was just introduced. As you can tell by my enthusiasm, I am hooked. But the Journal has some great things coming up. I know we have another charity as we're talking about things like that. We're going to be.
Let's talk about that.
October 8th, save the date. The New England Real Estate Journal radio show is going to be at the Boston Harbor Hotel with Let's Get Ready. And what they do, they work in partnership to put children in higher education, get them higher education for those that can't get it themselves. And the event honoree is Richard Holbrook. He's the chairman and CEO of Eastern Bank. So, again, that's October 8th from 6 to 9:30 at the Boston Harbor Hotel, and that's with Let's Get Ready. Check them out at letsgetready.org.
And then September 25th in Providence, Rhode Island, the New England Real Estate Journal Cocktails and Conversation networking event.
Huge
will
event.
Be held. And we have, I want to name some of our sponsors, which is Warwick, Rhode Island, the city of Warwick, Rhode Island. We also have
Eldorado
Washington
Stone
Trust.
Yep, Washington Trust is a new one.
Is a new one. We have Eldorado Stone. We have
Cushman and Wayfield, Sherry and Hayes.
Hayes and Sherry.
I thought it was Sherry and Hayes.
No, it's Hayes and Sherry.
Hayes and Sherry, you're right.
And we have...
we messed that up last week, too.
New England Restaurant Brokers as well, also a sponsor. We do have a few more sponsors coming in, but it's if you sign up before August 31st, you can save $10 on a ticket to register.
Right. So get the discount. You're going to go anyway. If you're in Rhode Island and you're talking commercial real estate, you need to go there because you need to network with everybody.
We always have a great event.
We do.
And there's a lot of people that attend.
Besides having a great radio show, I mean, we put on some pretty good events.
Are they free cocktails or is it cash bar?
It's cash bar.
It's cash bar.
Cash bar.
Can't give out like drink tickets or anything or help.
No, we're giving free
But
appetizers.
here's the thing: we have the reason we don't do a free drink is because you're there to network, to do business. You can buy your own drink. We're getting you business, right? Your connections.
I guess that's a good point.
The connection is actually worth the ticket, and that's what we focus on.
And to be honest with you, Adam, if you're there to drink 10, 15 drinks, it's probably not the place to be.
That is true.
And
if you really need one drink, you can always go to me or Rick, and we'll be happy to buy you.
That's right. We would be happy to buy
Well, it's true, too. If you want to network with somebody, you buy them a drink. And
of course.
Right.
It's a great way to introduce yourself. Hey, what do you need one? I got one. You walk up, and that's it.
That's right.
So we did look into that, though, Adam. That did pose a good question. We did look into that in the beginning, but we thought if we focused strictly on the conversational part, the cocktails will take care of themselves.
Plus, you know what? And what happens?
I guess if you could also
and
go
having the drink kind of warms you up a little bit.
Yeah, you could also go the other way. If you give up the cocktails, then the conversation will probably handle itself but not in the right way.
We also had a problem that no one was networking. Everyone was standing in line for the bar.
Right.
So it took away the effect of the networking.
But it will be a great event. I implore. Yep, big word, Eric. Implore everyone who's going to be in the Rhode Island area to come out and check it out because I think you'll find it definitely worth your time.
Well, I thank you, Eric, because I will be there.
I know Rick will be there. We're doing the radio show. They'll be doing live, not live, but recorded videos of some of the sponsors, some of the attendees. I know it's going to be a great event.
And if you want to see you can go to our YouTube channel, NERE Journal.
Yep.
And you can see all the videos of some of the interviews from prior
shows,
Cocktails and Conversation, as well as there's a promo for the Cocktails and Conversation.
And you can see
you can listen to all of our shows.
You can actually watch our shows, Rick. You can watch our shows.
And listen, I'm sorry.
You can always listen to our show online at our website, but you get to watch our show, which is a whole new experience. It almost puts you like you're in the studio with us. Which is, by the way, awesome because you get to feel the presence of the great Rick Kaplan.
That is so true, Eric.
I mean, The confidence that you instill in me just by me sitting there is out of control.
So I just like I said the other night, I actually did have some cocktails and watched some of your conversations.
Nice. See? It's happening.
But I had to have the cocktails.
You know, it's funny. Most of our fans do because it is hilarious.
Adam, you know what? Every time you see becoming one of the cult that follow us.
Yes. I know that there's a drinking game going around, and it was called Every Time Rick Reads. And they had to slow down because all the kids were getting wasted.
I would say, you would make it through the first segment.
And that's why I drink.
Right. So we do have those events. Anything else coming up? I know you're going to NAOP Cruise tonight.
NAOP Cruise tonight. And
shout out to NAOP. Thanks for having Rick and Julie Santos attend.
Yes. And I also like to think, before I forget, CCIM and IFMA now are also association sponsors coming down. 2 more associations, and now there's a total of 9, and 5 sponsors. So the booths that will be surrounding the network event, they're building. They're getting there. That's right. I can't think of any other events that we have going on. No, I know there's nothing. I know we're just busy focused on that, and the New York Real Estate Journal, they're celebrating their 25th anniversary, and I know that big paper goes out today. So next Tuesday, for those that get the New York paper and to follow us on the New York Real Estate Journal radio show. And in November, we're coming up to our 100th show. Yeah, we're going to have our 100th show. We're going to bring in all of your most favorite guests. So hit us up on Twitter at NEREJ Radio. And tell us who your favorite guest was, and we'll bring him back in. We'll put together a great show for you. I'm sure it's probably going to be Adam that most people are going to want to get.
Well, maybe I'll come back for that.
Yeah, right. Maybe he can call in at this point because he'll be in New York City. He could be a guest on New York's radio show and tell us about what it's like to work on radio.
Busy doing New York radio.
Nice. Well, talk to Sirius about getting us on there. Are you serious? We need to be on Sirius. We're famous in our own minds. We are what you would call the commercial Howard Stearns of commercial real estate. Yeah, we are. No, you're not. Stop ruining our feelings. I know. But I know we'll be back next week. Who's our guest next week, Rick? Next week we have the mayor of Warwick, Rhode Island. Fantastic, and we'll find out a lot more about Warwick, Rhode Island before we go down there on September 25th. See you at the Hilton. And this deal is done.